Welcome and thank you so much. I'm Angela Killoren, and I'm going to introduce Scott a little bit later. And I am here in the capacity as the board chair of the Council of Korean Americans. For those of you who do not know, the Council of Korean Americans is a national leadership organization of Korean Americans to advance the voice and influence of the community. And our favorite person in this room, Abraham Kim, has been leading that effort for so many years. Thank you so much. CK, I mean, I'm from Los Angeles, so it feels weird to say this in Washington, D.C., because you know this better than I. But, we believe that Korean American leadership matters. And it's not just to our own community, but to the broader American story. So we're here today to celebrate Korean American Day. There's a lot of numbers. Today is the 123rd anniversary since the first Korean immigrants arrived in Hawaii in 1903, sorry. And this event, Korean American Day was first created in 2003 and then recognized in 2005. And since then, I think CKA, KEI have been doing events to recognize the Korean pioneers and the work and the hard work that has been continued in the community. People came here with their hands and their labor to build a better future far from their homelands. And today we recognize the contributions of Korean Americans all across the board in so many areas. And we're extremely excited to have our speaker today talking about kind of the next frontier of how Korean Americans are helping build the future. I think just to remind, and for many of you guys don't know me, I grew up in Korea, the daughter of a Korean mother and an American father, and I got to enjoy the best of both worlds. But when I came to the U.S. when I was 14, I understood the blessing and the responsibility of what it meant to be a Korean American. Korean Americans and CKA, I think, we are the living bridge between US and Korea. We augment people's cultural understanding. We help make economic partnerships happen. And I think we often are the ones in the room for making sure that our diplomatic and security bonds remain tight and spread throughout the larger community. So I think celebrating Korean American Day with all of you is so meaningful, and we're very grateful. And just last thing, the 2026, we've been reminding people of the milestones. This is the 250th year of the founding of the United States of America. As I mentioned earlier, it is the 123rd year of the Korean American community. For our own organization, CKA, Council of Korean Americans, is celebrating its 15th anniversary this year, and Network of Korean American Leaders, which is our leadership development pipeline program, is celebrating 20 years. So I think this is a reminder of that we all need to contribute and serve with purpose, and we're so happy to have all of you here today. Thank you so much.
So I'm Scott Snyder. I'm president and CEO of the Korea Economic Institute of America. And also, I guess that I have been an observer of the enactment of legislation naming this Korean American Day, and also the establishment of an annual program. The first, the legislation, I believe, was enacted in 2005. And Korea Economic Institute decided to host an event commemorating Korean American Day. I think the first one was in 2008. And I want to acknowledge that one of our alumni, Trace Stangerone, was the one who had the idea for this, actually. But also, we have so many alumni from the Korea Economics Institute who are engaged in this program in various forms. At the Council on Korean Americans now, Abe, of course, used to be at KEI, and Linda Butcher as well. We have Ambassador Stevens here, KEI alumnus. and so many around the room. Florence Lo-Lee is our longest tenured KEI employee. But really the significance, I think, is that the core of the relationship, as far as I see it, between the two countries, it really does boil down to individual interaction. And I think that at the heart of the Korean-American relationship has been the meaningful and purposeful mutual support and building of communities across the Pacific between Koreans and Americans. And now there are over 2 million Korean Americans here in the United States that are really, I think, the glue of the relationship. And it's remarkable to witness the vibrancy of the relationship as both in the context of the state-to-state relationship and to see so many of the individual relationships between the two countries that have been important to fostering the relationship, but also really to contributing one strand to the multi-ethnic fabric of the United States. And so it's really remarkable to see those contributions being lived out in the D.C. area. We're really looking forward to this conversation between Eun Yang and Songyee Yoon. And I want to introduce Eun because she is, in a way, in her bio, she says, embodies the Korean-American immigrant story of hard work, perseverance, and civic dedication. And she's been a local broadcast journalist with NBC4 Washington since 2002. Therefore, I'm the one who needs the introduction, not her. But it's been remarkable to watch her public persona contributing to the Washington community in so many different ways. And so I want to invite Eun to the stage, along with Songyee, and I think that Eun will give a more extensive introduction of Songyee. So please welcome to the stage. Please join me in welcoming.
Scott, thank you so much for that very generous introduction. I did not write that bio, but indeed my family story is probably one that resonates with everyone in this room. All those things, hard work, perseverance. But we are here for our special guest tonight. And before we start, can I just, on this Korean American Day, BTS announced they're going back on the world tour. So there's my PSA for the evening. A gift from BTS on Korean American Day. But we're here because of you. There's been such high interest, and I can't go over your entire CV. I mean, you have such an extensive and impressive career. So can you just go over, we're going to start with just a few pivotal key moments or experiences you've had that have shaped who you are and how you arrived where you are today?
Oh, so I introduce myself.
Yeah, yes.
First of all, thank you so much for having me here today. It's a very special that it's a Korean American Day, and I feel honored to be on the stage in celebration of this very important day for our community. My name is Songyee Yoon. I'm not very good at introducing myself. I realize that people say, "Oh, like your CV is so long," because I'm so old. So, I've been around for many years. I did a lot of things because like every year there's a new thing happening. So I don't know where to start, but like I'm a managing partner of Principal Venture Partners in Silicon Valley. I invest in early stage AI native companies. Before that, I ran a gaming company for 15 years. I grew the company from 300-person engineering team to 6,000 people international enterprise with 20 billion market cap. I opened 7 different offices in 7 different countries. But I think it's when when I introduce myself, I start by saying that for some people, like BTS, like singing and dancing is very natural. I cannot sing, I cannot dance. But from a very young age, coding and computer science was very natural to me. So I started coding when I was 9, like artificial intelligence and interactive, like adaptive kind of algorithm development came natural to me. So I started publishing papers on the topic since like early 90s. So I've been doing AI for like 30 years now. And throughout my career, I'm not going to go in details, but like I used AI and computer science and algorithms, data science in like many different sectors, including finance, like communication, gaming, and entertainment. And now I work with a lot of early stage companies trying to use that technology to bring that technology forward many steps ahead. So that's brilliant.
Great. And so just going back to, are there any particular moments or experiences in that long career that you felt were memorable and that kind of impacted you in a meaningful way to help you gain your success where you are today? I'm not very, I'm just kind of living, not successful. I don't know, like it sounds very successful. You just talked about your incredible career.
I think every moment, every decision, I think really shapes where you are today. But if you ask me that question, I can say that I was told that I was crazy many, many times in my life. I grew up in South Korea where there is a lot of, there's a lot of kind of gender inequality. When I was young, it was even more extreme. So I share this story with many of you in the room. But I think it's one of the first pivotal moments was like when I was just 5 years old. There was a Chuseok celebration where, a lot of extended families get together to prepare food for a couple of days and have a Chuseok dinner with other, all the relatives. And in that evening, I remember that I was told to stay in the kitchen with my aunts and my female cousins to eat broken dumplings, whereas my uncles and male cousins were led to a living room, sit around the big table to eat all the beautiful dumplings. And I really hated it. So I thought something's wrong. So I walked up to my father in the living room. I said, I want to sit next to you. I literally asked to sit at the table, and my father allowed me to sit there. And I think that was a moment that I was able to have the courage to ask, even though all my female cousins never talked to me since then. And they thought that I was a weirdo. And I was the only person in a math competition in science. And I majored electrical engineering in Korea. There were only 7 female students out of 220, and 3 of them graduated. So I was okay to be the minority of the minority, and I think that was one moment that that was pivotal, and also it was very natural to me. When I was working in McKinsey, I was working with one of the largest financial institutions as they enter credit card market. It was very natural that back then, the credit card was first introduced Korean market, very early days. And today it's very commonsensical to think about use data science and a predictable model to really assess the credit scoring and likelihood of default and etc. But didn't have that model, didn't have a data scientist as part of the banking system. So the only model that we had was a model that was developed in the UK, and it didn't really work because the data and the kind of environment's different. So I had to go to their data center where all the data was stored on a tape. I put the tape in my car trunk. I drove that back to my office and developed a model. And that financial institutions became the #1 credit card offering company in South Korea. I was told I was crazy that I said because I said that data science is going to be an important part of the banking system. So I recommended starting a 7-10 people team reporting directly to the CEO of the bank. Everyone told me that I was saying it because I don't understand banking. Today, it became the very important part of the banks. When I joined gaming company, it was very natural to me. There's so much. Everything is in digital world. Everything was so it was very natural for me to think that we should use data science and model for user acquisition and predict churn, how the players are behaving within the game. Everyone told me that I was crazy, that I was saying it because I don't understand the gaming market. Today, all the gaming companies have that function, and it becomes one of the largest organization within the company. When I started this venture capital, I started raising fund. Everyone told me that I was crazy to raise fund. I was told that to find a white male partner to raise because the statistics shows that only 2% of the capital goes to female manager. After a year, we're the top performing fund in the field of AI. So I was able to raise and deploy and one of the best performing fund in Silicon Valley. So I think if I think of a pivotal moment, there are many pivotal moments, but I think mostly when I was told I was crazy, and I now know I'm doing something right because it all turned out to be commonsensical after a decade or so.
Wow. Now people know you're not crazy. They should listen to exactly what you're doing. Isn't that right?
They still tell me.
Still to this day. Can you tell me a little bit more in depth about the work? In the work that you're doing currently, what are you looking for when you're investing in AI? AI is, everyone is talking about, this is where we need to go. This is the future. And we just don't know enough about it. We don't know the limitations. We don't know the future. And I feel like you probably have some more answers than the rest of us. How is all that training, that experience in all those different fields kind of helped you with your understanding of AI and how it's used today?
Oh, so I think it's very interesting to watch how the world is reacting to AI. Because again, I'm very old. I have seen many AI winters and summers. And I think it's in 1960s, there was a I think it was a Boston Globe headline was that end of psychotherapist. Because there is a program, it was designed to answer, repeat what you say. People, oh, I'm really tired. And I see you're tired. And it was designed to do that way. And people are mesmerized and say, oh, this, I don't need to talk to my therapist. It's much better. But then it kind of generated all sorts of hypes. And in 1965, there's a lot of investment, and people say AI is going to solve all the problems that the humanities have, and etc. But there is not enough compute, not enough data, not enough engineers and development of technology. So it really didn't meet that expectation. It kind of crashed. There are many since then there are many ups and downs because the nature of AI is the word artificial intelligence, I think really triggers the human imagination and it kind of makes us think oh, it can do that, it can go infinitely intelligent and smart and solve all our problems. So it's kind of the technology that has that kind of the character. So I remember when I was in early 2000, we were going through another AI winter. And because I was working for a telecom, one of the largest telecom company, just launching 3G service, from a transition from voice only service to data service, which, today it's very, it's kind of easy to understand, but back then people didn't understand about personalized data delivery and that requires a lot of the data platform for individual usage patterns, etc. So I had to set up everything, including the platforms and a data repository, and wanted to hire some people who understand AI. And I knock on the door of all the top universities and talk to professors. I need like someone who understands artificial intelligence, and like I need your top students. And everyone's saying, I'm not doing AI, because AI was a door. If you say you are doing AI, because it was in the AI winter, if you're saying I'm doing AI, there will be no funding, because they're working on something that's going to fail for sure. So they're saying, I'm not doing AI, I'm doing computer vision. I'm not doing AI, I'm doing factory automation. I'm not like, I kind of still remember those days. And I said, like, it's okay. Like, I just need someone who understands algorithm development. So like I was able to hire someone to understand algorithm. But today they're all saying, I've been doing AI for all along since like 2000. So, I mean, I think AI is a very broad term. So like when I say I invest in AI native companies, I just invest in companies where I'm not in the companies making tech demos, or like kind of something that's kind of interesting, or like a research phase. I'm investing in companies that are solving real world business problems embracing all the technology and data that we have today. So I sometimes call it just kind of modern software company. But I think it's people get confused when I say like, oh, it's an AI native company, because people often think of different things. But if you look at top 10 NASDAQ companies, more than half of them are not digitally transformed companies. They're digital native companies that started after introduction of digital technology, after introduction of the broadband. So similar transformation is happening. So there are a lot of companies who are embracing the new tech stack, new technology, and new set of like engineers and the leadership who is building the generational winners that are come after this period. So that's the kind of companies I go after and make investment.
You probably don't foresee another AI winter anytime soon at the rate we're going, right? I mean, that's behind us. Can we address this? I know we talked about this when we met briefly about this event, just this like elephant in the room, the fear surrounding AI, this overreaching fear. And I think that's such a broad question, but it goes from everything to, is AI going to take my job? Or is AI moving so fast? It's so overwhelming. I don't know how to keep up. There's so many questions people have. Can you talk about, is this fear necessary? And what should we actually be worrying about? Because it's the flip side of what you were saying, that people expect it to solve all our problems too, but we're also worried about what the limitations are and what the capabilities are.
Yeah, I think that's a very loaded question. I think there are many layers to it. So like, but if you look at all the technology, like new technology introduction and transition of platform, people often go back to the times when the Ford was first introduced, and people are worried that like, oh, like the job of like horse care is gonna go. It's gonna be replaced, and then the job is not gonna be there for us anymore. But like we introduced cars, and I think it had a lot of it had a downside, but it's a lot of upside that connected the world even tighter. And then I think we were able to achieve a lot of like good things. And many adjacent industries flourished as a result of that. So we can think of that type of transition, like, yes, like some of the job that we see today won't be around anymore, but there could be new type of jobs that's gonna because and then we don't know. It's really hard to kind of expect what's gonna come after. But on the other hand, I think it's another thing that makes us more fearful is that there's a lot of noise out there, because unlike other technology where engineers talk about its progress and then its kind of upside and downside and potential and etc., all of a sudden this ChatGPT landed in the hands of a lot of people, and people who used ChatGPT and had a conversation with it suddenly come out and saying, oh, I'm an AI expert. And I know everything about AI. I know what it can do, what is the limitation, where it's going. So this is going to be what the future is going to look like. And I think that I think a lot of noise and that those predictions also doesn't help with kind of for all of us think about kind of architecting what the future should be when there are a lot of things that's happening that we have to really think about what has to happen, what kind of policy should be in place, what kind of the re-education should be introduced to educate people and kind of upskilling the people who didn't have the experience of using this technology and work in the new industries that's gonna come out. So there are a lot of things in like many layers in the society that's happening, and the fact that it's such a kind of a being a fiery technology and there's a lot of noise out there isn't really helping.
So which industries, I'm so engrossed in your which industries will be most impacted, do you see? Which fields do you think that AI will show the most growth and show the most change in the workforce? And then what about the other side of not just the jobs that we do, but our humanity, our purpose and dignity in the work we do alongside AI?
Oh, that's a very good question. I think it's to answer the letter. I think it's another thing that we have to think about is when we talk about AI, we often only think about LLMs because that's most. I think people. It's a kind of the consumer application. A lot of people have access to and use it on a daily basis. But AI is a much broader technology than just LLM. But then it cannot talk about everything, but I'm just kind of, for example, I talk about LLM, for example. So we talk about this is an interesting technology that a lot of people have touched and use on a regular basis. But the technology alone comes with a lot of nuances. For example, people say, "Oh, like it's an LLM. It was trained all the information in the world that you can find, all the knowledge in the world." But that's a very bold statement. If you think about it, 30% of the world population do not have access to internet. They're not authors of the data that exist on internet. So when LLM has a very big blind side about the population that do not have access to broadband, we're not authors. So when we talk about, this is what it thinks, the answer that was given by LLM, we have to know what was the data source that was used, what is the limitations, and what are the boundaries. But at the same time, a lot of the companies say because of competition, because of all these reasons, because of regulation is always on the opposite side of innovation, we cannot share what data has been used for training. We cannot have the transparency. We cannot have any oversight. That doesn't really help. We cannot really rely on black box and making decisions when we know for sure there is a lot of limitations and some kind of the use of the data that was not agreed with the authors of a lot of the intellectual property. So I think that's kind of that's one thing to get started with. I mean, there are a lot of the things because we think that there is the AI is such an important technology, it's transformative, and we have to let it develop without any oversight. That kind of comes out with all this limitations and the risk that we don't necessarily think about. So there are a lot of things, including concentration of the information and a increased divide and access, privacy. There are a lot of things that we need to think about. But I think I'm concerned that there is not enough conversation on the topic because it's kind of it's being guarded so much. Your first part of your question was about what are the industries that are going to be affected. I think it's overall as a world. I think but the flip side of it is that AI really makes it really easy and makes cheaper to make software. And I think overall, I think the reason I'm really excited to be doing the work that I do is that overall, the world is massively under softwareized. So like a software was the good quality software was very expensive and hard to develop. So it was only available for big tech companies. But if you think about a lot of mom and pop like stores and and other businesses, they don't really use all the data. They don't have a good understanding of their customers. They don't have a capacity to come up with more personalized service delivery. But if there's more software, or more IoT that connects them, I think there will be a lot more data that will enable them to provide more sophisticated services, and it will bring the quality of the product and services leveled up. So there is a lot of opportunity, a potential out there because this AI technology enables a lot of them. In the more shorter term, I think there are a lot of industries, there are a lot of unstructured data that's like sitting around that has not been used. And use of application of the technology will allow us to bring out the insight that was not very obvious for human analysts or human eyes. For example, industries like insurance, like accounting, or like legal, like healthcare, there's a lot of unstructured data that we're not able to see the correlations between massive set of data that allows us to see through things that we have not been able to see. For example, I have seen companies analyzing all the P&Ls and balance sheet and come up with the probability of any accounting manipulation. So if the technology was available like 20 years ago, there wouldn't have been like cases like Enron. But I think today, because of technology and we know how to understand the layers and layers of data, we can see it more in a more those insight is readily available. So there are a lot of industries that will benefit from the technology, but I think it's also at the same time we have to always worry about the development of it and access of it and transparency around it.
To that point, do you think that governments need to do more for regulation as you're looking for? South Korea announced that they were trying to get on top of investment for AI policy. And be on the forefront of that. So what can society do in terms of regulation and putting safeguards in place now ahead of what's to come?
Yeah, I think there are a lot of horror stories. But if the technology is used without proper guardrail, it can be used in a way that's against the kind of the value that we would like to uphold. So you heard a lot about the notion of alignment. There is a. Are you?
No, I'm not. Can you explain alignment for me? I'm not as familiar with AI.
So there is a book by Professor Borstrom, Oxford University, called Superintelligence, and there is a thought experiment about the paperclip. So if you develop this AI, very super capable, can do anything extremely good, and give that AI a mission like make a paperclip. And if that's the only mission that's given to the AI, that it's going to keep making paperclip and turn everything into paperclip, including buildings, including our cannons, including everything, like what's needed for our daily life, the things that we would never do. So that's called alignment, right? It's like we have to when they're doing certain things out there, that kind of boundary condition and the value has to be aligned. Also this is a very debatable kind of better message, because human values are not aligned either. If we are all aligned, there will be no war. There will be no argument. There will be no like bipartisan conversation. We are not aligned. We have to accept that. But we know the world is in a better place when we are very transparent about what we believe in, what our values are, and accept that misalignment. So like it's very dangerous to say that this AI is aligned with humanity, because humanity and human values are not aligned. That alone makes it very inevitable that those values have to be transparent. Like when they say, what are the guardrails? What is the boundary conditions of this AI is working? That we need to know what is the boundary condition, because we know that nothing can be like perfect, because nothing can satisfy everyone in the world, because we're all different. There is no alignment, but we at least know what is a boundary condition, what is a value it's holding, but there's no transparency. That's a big problem. And then oftentimes the need for regulation and demand for transparency is dismissed that, oh, we need the innovation. It interferes with innovation. And then there is a competition. But if you think about food industry discloses what's ingredients. It allows them to have more businesses, and it allows them to be very creative and innovative while protecting those who have some allergies. So those regulations and putting guardrail is not always against innovation, but I think we have to get out of that black and white view of the world and put those guardrails around. And I think that's the role of the government, and that's a very important role that we have to demand as consumers. And I think it's that's our role to play.
That just leads so well into my next question. And you really touched upon something that I agree with you so much about, the differences in our humanity. It's not aligned all the time. This is another big question of like the fear one about ethics. There's so many questions surrounding AI. I think most of us probably put an email, right, and put it into ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini to make it better. And people love this feature, right? But now there are questions of, okay, how much is that your original voice? And are people actually going to make a first draft first? If you're going for a job, is that person the person that you're actually interviewing or talking to this job about? Or is it somebody who's used AI to make them seem better than they are? Now, teachers are having students write in-class essays because of plagiarism. So we have all these issues about what's original voice, what is authentic in this age of AI. And to your point, if we're trying to say we should have a moral compass, that looks different for everybody, what you think is appropriate and what's not. So for the consumer, what are the guidelines for ethical use of this? I know that's a question, it's like a more philosophical question. I'm not saying you have the hard, fast answer to that,
I think that's a very good, very interesting question, because it really depends on the kind of discipline that you're in, and also like a personal beliefs too. I know some of the authors like say, I'm not using AI at all. And some I use it for research. Some use it for some spell checking. So people use it for different purposes. But at the end of the day, I think you have to be one who kind of own the product and be responsible for the final product. Recently, there was a LinkedIn article that went viral by one of the professors in New York because in a computer science class, we all know that students are using AI tool to program their code. But at the end of the day, they have to the students have to understand. It's inevitable they're going to use AI tools, but you have to understand line by line why that was written that way, which demanded the professor to have one-on-one kind of oral exam, which takes up so much time because the class has hundreds of students. So what he did was he developed AI interviewer. I trained the AI using all the class materials and also the student, the project, and came up with the questions and used like a TTS tool to have an oral conversation with the student, and student had to answer, and AI a kind of it's not just one, like a kind of set of AI. They evaluated the answer and came up with a grade that the professor took into consideration in giving the final grade. So also, like I'm in conversation with a lot of the faculty members of the universities around the country. They also have the same issue. A lot of the students submit their homework done by AI. Some universities, they say because of that, but then we all know that like the outcome of the AI is not the A+ material. It's like maybe like as good as like a B+. Or like it's not really the kind of A+ material, and now the output of AI sets the floor. So I think there are a lot of many ways to take a look at this. I think it's true that it requires us to look at things differently, but this is a new tool that we cannot really dismiss. We cannot pretend it doesn't exist. It's going to be a tool that's integral to the students' future at their job. But I think that what doesn't change is that they have to own the consequence. They have to understand why the result came out that way.
I wish we had more time. So many questions. Can we give a round of applause for Songyee Yoon? I just think. Yes, thank you. Your insights and perspective, just so illuminating for all of this. We appreciate your time and your talents. Angela Killoren and Scott Snyder are going to ask you to come back onto the stage. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Eun and Songyee, for a really remarkable conversation. I feel like we should have retitled the conversation, The World Through the Eyes of Songyee Yoon. And it was a fascinating view of both how to help use technology in order to realize potential. And also, I just admire how articulate you are in terms of being able to communicate very complicated concepts in very simple ways. So we're really grateful for that. So maybe one more round of applause for that conversation. And now we want to turn to our Korean American Day Award. And the awardee, I also want to invite to come up to the stage, Dr. Abraham Kim. Abe is well known to this audience, both because of his past service at the Korea Economic Institute and also because of his leadership at the Council on Korean Americans. And I've known Abe for, almost 30 years. I hate to say that. But there are a few attributes that I think I have seen in the way that Abe has approached his work over that time that I just want to highlight before turning the microphone over to Angela. One, I remember when Abe was starting out as the vice president of Korea Economic Institute as a newly minted Columbia University PhD, he was really interested in management and talking to me about how he was going to read all these management books in order to really be a leader in the nonprofit world. And I think that that is because that is actually his true passion. Maybe it might have outweighed his commitment to his PhD thesis. I don't know. But I think that what that tells me and what I've seen in terms of his leadership at CKA is that he approaches his work with intentionality. And it's an intentionality that is built around connection. And I think that that is both a set of characteristics that have embodied what he has done at KEI and at CKA, and you can really see it, I think, in the CKA programming. But it's also, I think, a set of attributes that will serve him well as he moves to the Korea Society as their new president. Second, Abe exhibits so much passion, especially for the mission of CKA and also at KEI. He really, I think, shows his commitment to the community and to the work through that passion. And then the third characteristic that I just want to highlight is what I would call indefatigable entrepreneurship. It is really quite rare to find people who have a capacity for leadership in the nonprofit world and who are able to take missions and agendas and expand them to reach out to so many different people. And I had the privilege of being with Abe at a CKA program in Houston right before the pandemic, at which it was very instructive to see how he was bringing people together in that community. But also the other thing that I noticed is that when the pandemic hit, he didn't stop. He just kept on traveling. And I don't know if that was wise or not, but, he really was the Energizer bunny in terms of trying to build a community and the organization of the Council on Korean Americans. And so I think it really is building people-centered relationships in an affirming and celebratory manner is the way that I think that he has conducted that work. And so I just want to acknowledge that and honor him for that, and then turn over the microphone to Angela.
I don't know that I can say that any better. I think the three qualities that Scott landed on are exactly the embodiment of, Abe. And I was thinking during when Songyee was talking about just having the courage, Abe has often had the courage to take Korean Americans to places that we are not traditionally gathered and feel connected. I think one of the pivotal moments for CKA was an early retreat that he did in Montana, right near Yellowstone. And I had the privilege of being invited to go, as were maybe 20 or 30 Korean American leaders, just ideating what the future of, the new future of CK was going to be. And only Abe would have thought, you know what, the best way to start is to take everybody to Yellowstone and maybe go hiking and look at some dude ranch type of activities. But really, creativity, initiative, passion, and a real love of bringing people together. And we all came away from that weekend. I think that was really a huge heart for the new chapter of CK that Abe has built. We've been so just blessed to have Abe's leadership over the last 7 years. And especially during the pandemic, the pivot that Abe and the organization made was incredible. In fact, I think in some ways CK flourished during the pandemic just because of his ability to virtually and maybe sometimes in person be everywhere all at once. And so it was a growth period for us. So that ability to take a challenge and then turn that into a huge opportunity, we are super, super grateful for that. So we wanted to recognize Abe with an award tonight. And we asked a artist, Julia, I think Chan has the award. And it was commissioned for Abe because Abe is super special. So you want something unique. Julia is an artist who has, she's also a muralist, and she has created a scroll, and it is inspired by the Korean genre of cheokgori painting, the scholar's bookcase scroll. And the items inside of it are related to Abe, and we wanted to present that to Abe tonight as a thank you. Did you want to explain a little bit about that?
So we wanted to thank Abe for his stewardship and care for the Korean American community. And so each object represents different aspects of his character. So persimmons represent humility, cranes integrity, and the scrolls and ink brushes governance through wisdom and learning. So thank you, Abe.
Take a picture with it? Yeah. Take a picture. Stand in the middle.
Someone made it. We're going to ask. Eun has a good photo. She's ready. Thank you. And so we're going to be super upset to lose Abe to New York City. I mean, we don't get to have him, but DC doesn't get to have him either. So he's going to New York. But before he goes, we want to invite him to say a few words.
Well, thank you very much for this honor. I wasn't really expecting it, and having this opportunity to address all of you on this special occasion of the Korean American Day. And what's funny is that for years I've been giving this award to other people, and both at KEI and CKA, and never imagined being in this position of receiving it. So it's a great honor, and I'm also realizing the time is we're close to the end of the program, so I'm the only thing that's holding you back from going home tonight as well. But I had prepared a speech using ChatGPT, but I decided not to use it tonight, but instead just to say what an honor it has been to serve not only the Korean American community, but the Washington D.C. community. There have been so many supporters and so many people who believed in the importance of the Korean American community as well as the Asian American community writ large. And to be honest, now that I'm unemployed on both sides and I haven't started at TKS, I can be a little bit political because I've been avoiding political. But all within all honesty, it has been a tough couple of years, but it has been important that the community came together. And in difficult times, that's when the community is absolutely important. And at CKA, we focused on, I think the key word here is about relationships and investing in people and leaders. And that's what I learned in CKA is that you can have great programs, you can have great events and things like that. But really, ultimately, the long-lasting thing is really changing people's lives and building that community together. And once you have that community, then that community can continue to grow, and that community and that vision and that mission and the continued work can go on for generations to come. One of the things I learned, I lived in Montana, as you've already know, for 6 years, and I was at the University of Montana. And one of the privilege I had was to actually learn a lot about the Native community, which I had no background in. And there's 7 federally recognized Native communities: the Blackfeet, the Crow, and so forth. But there's an interesting wisdom that I learned in Montana is that when the Native community do something, they think about it in terms of, will this have an impact for 100 generations? And that's how they think about doing things, right? Or putting together some kind of initiative. And that got me thinking, it's like, wow, 100 generations. I mean, how many years is that, right? But that's a mindset, meaning that when we bring together communities to build something that is worth building, sometimes it's slow, it's patient, working together with people of all different communities. But once it's built, it will last 100 generations, right? And so in the Korean American community and the Asian American community writ large, we've been working to build this community, to invest in leaders, young people as well as experienced leaders, to figure out a way to how to not only create a community, but a platform where these leaders will continue to grow, to support each other. And when we pass on, there will be other leaders that will come behind. And because of that mindset and that culture. So, and I'm just privileged to play a small part in that in these last 7 years at CKA. And as I mentioned to my colleagues, I'm not going away. I'm still here. It makes it sound like I've died or something like that. So I'm only in New York, but I'll be in D.C., but working in the capacity of strengthening U.S.-Korea relations, which is actually my original, my first love, right? My original passion when I worked at KEI and others. But now what's important is now we bring in the Korean American community element, which is an important bridge, an important supporter of this important alliance that we all care about so deeply. So thank you very much for this honor. And I am inspired to continue to do the great work, but now in New York City. So thank you very much. Have a good evening.
So I'm just going to quick close. Thank you so much to the Korea Economic Institute, led by Scott Snyder, for co-hosting this amazing event. I hope that we continue to have these partnerships and many more for years to come. Our incredible speakers, Songyee Yoon and Eun Yang tonight. Songyee, I didn't get to ask the question of how Songyee became famous in Korea because she was the youngest person ever admitted to KAIST when she was 15 years old. And a lot of times prodigies burn out, but on the stage today, you see her passion and undying curiosity and how she continues to do that. I think that's an incredible example that we all want to learn from. So thank you so much. Thank you again to Abe. Otherwise we wouldn't be here, literally. So, and I thought it was on our tables, we have on berries, the folks who provided them and invented them are here tonight. It's an interesting conversation because it's the combination of agriculture and AI and robotics and something that is being technology from Korea, and it is being grown here, I believe in Maryland. And so that's different ways that we see the future being built. And last but not least, thank you so much to the staff and all the wonderful people at CKA, KEI, and the National Press Club for having this event or allowing this event to be so successful. We hope to see you again soon. Many more of these events this seminal year. Happy Korean American Day.